Welcome back to Overtime, ladies and gentlemen. Been a great show so far, and we've got two more fantastic segments. Today is one of the days before the NBC. That wasn't the word I was going to go for, but then we just kind of said it, and we're just going to keep on going with it. NBC is this weekend, guys. The Universal Opens Finals at the eSports Arena in Santa Ana. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can still get tickets for that, I believe. They're not too expensive if you want to go live, but holy cow, 2v2 as a big old tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Like you said, Santa Ana, the eSports Arena, this is the first big 2v2 tournament, really kind of paving the way for all 2v2 players.
Two's a lot of fun to watch, man. You get to really watch. It's almost kind of like a showcase. A lot of players they have a lot more room to breathe, so they really get to show you where their skill set is. They get to slow the game down a lot more intentionally without as much of a risk. A lot of times in threes, if you slow it down against a team who's not ready to slow it down, you're just going to get slammed, and you're not going to be able to have any time to react. So in twos, you have more room to breathe, and it's really fun to watch.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We were talking, like Quinn and I got to be in a lot of these shows and talk about and watch these teams play. And one of the things that Kevin Naki, the host, was always asking us is like, do we think there's gonna be any like 2v2 teams who are gonna show up and we're never gonna heard of, or is it just gonna be all the pros from the 3v3 scene? And it really was mostly the pros from the 3v3 scene. As you take a look at the teams that qualified here for the championship, G2 Esports has two teams there, G2 Omega and G2 Esports. Sizzle Your Cobb is Sizz and Jacob. Dap G is Dapper and Garrett G. A lot of teams the 3v3 teams kind of like splitting up a little bit and forming up 2v2 squads with their team. Cloud9 is all Cloud9 players, and Splice is Karma and Pluto. So, mostly players we are familiar with here. And if not pro teams, then, teams on the pro bubble circuit.
Are we just going to make it a thing?
Let's just make it a thing at this point.
We're just going to own it. I can always appreciate teams that make up names that are fun to say, like Wabi Sabi.
Or it's lit.
It's lit, man.
It's lit isn't as fun to say as Wabi Sabi.
You're talking about candles, right? They're saying, all right, it's lit with the candle there.
I don't get it. Why would they talk about candles, Wave?
Because it's lit. You like candles.
But why is it lit? I need explanation.
They need light, so,
To play Rocket League? Do you look at your controller when you play Wave?
I'm so confused.
Why are they called Ghost Esports? There's no ghosts in Rocket League either. Quinn, which team were you the most impressed with over the course of the qualifiers?
I'd probably have to say Cloud9. We didn't get to see EU, so I'm just going to throw it out there. I think EU's going to come over and stop everybody.
Really?
Except there are going to be some chances. No. I take it back. The team that surprised me the most was going to be Sizzle Your Cobb.
Really?
Yeah.
That was what surprised you.
They surprised me the most because Cloud9, I expected them to come in and just decimate players. And that ceiling goal from Squishy where you just hear me going absolutely wild in the background. It's like I'm trying to comprehend it. That's still forever the best goal. So that was a big surprise. But Sizzle Your Cobb, Jacob, within the pro scene, kind of known, at least between most of the players, that he's not the best 2v2 player because he does really unorthodox things. It's difficult to read, goes for a lot of risky plays, which as 2v2 kind of develops, you learn that, all right, well, you can't really go for that stuff. Players are still finding out where their holes are, where you need to tighten up the gameplay, and how to play that game mode the best. And seeing Jacob and Sizz, two players who I kind of describe as very aggressive and unorthodox players, somehow it's like almost not dropping a game through the entire day, all the way into the grand finals. So that was pretty impressive for me, at least.
I do think it's a big thing to say. We talked a lot about Matt and Sizz that were a duo. They played twos non-stop for the first 9 months the game came out. So I think it's really big on his part. And for Jacob, if I were on a twos team with Jacob, I would just wait as long as possible until I had to do anything.
That's the weird part is that Sizz. When it was Sizz and Matt was the one who was waiting. And when it's Jacob and anybody else is the one who's waiting. Jacob and Sizz are both the ones who play so aggressively, and I think that's why they might have a lot of success in the qualifier. But seeing them both kind of just really have solid passing play and great understanding between each other, I think they have some things they got to polish up. But definitely a team to look out for.
Yeah, they were definitely the team I think that was surprising the most, especially with just how dominant of a performance they had there. Were there any how do you think you mentioned the European teams? We didn't get to see the European teams at all through the regionals that we saw on NBC, but some big names coming in. Flipside sending both Marky and Cookster, one of the oldest duos in Rocket League. And I know you've told me off camera that you really think that Europe's going to be the dominant region here in this tournament.
Yeah, the number one thing I think, especially when it comes to 2v2, like the reason why we do see Marky and Cucks in there, which is probably a big surprise to a lot of people who think they've fallen off the competitive scene as far as 3v3 goes. They have issues finding some synergy with a third, and oftentimes in 2v2 and 3v3, it's a little bit easier to kind of get into that like constant rotation that you do in 2s, whereas in 3s it's a little bit more ambiguous when you should stay up or shouldn't, right?
I mean, think about it. You're only thinking about one other person's thoughts. All you're doing is you're paying attention to your enemies.
Exactly, yeah.
And then you're thinking about your one teammate. You know if he's gone up, there's only one place he can be. So then you play around that as opposed to 2 other dudes flying around.
Right, and I think that's exactly the reason why we see, you know, Marky and Cucks so successful in 2s. I mean, they have so much synergy together. They don't have to worry about another third player, and not that, you know, it's the third player that's the problem or something in 3s. I don't think that's the case. I just think that when you simplify the game a little bit to the 2v2 format, these are 2 players who've been playing together the longest in competitive Rocket League, and, you know, like this is just where they kind of got started, right? So I think that Marky and Cucks are going to probably be favorites to win the tournament.
So you're calling them as favorites to win the tournament. But what do they do? What does a team like that do? A team that's been playing together for so long do when they run up against something like Jacob and Sizz, who are just complete wild cards as far as anybody's concerned?
Well, I will say that I think that Jacob and Sizz had the most difficult bracket to qualify. I still think that there was no single bracket with multiple incredibly high-level pro teams. Right, and the only one that did have it, we saw a huge upset, which was the Brotherhood with Cloud9. So they ended up playing in the first game of the tournament, or of that whole regional qualifier, and we didn't really get to see Fireburner and Moses, you know, in a best of 5 where you have a little bit more space, and the best of 3s really skew the way the game's played.
I think spacing is huge in 2s, especially when you're looking at, like I said, there's only one other teammate to look out for, but that means there's only one other teammate to bail you out.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be doing these 1v2 aggressive plays, trying to dribble it out, doing some air dribbles, you know that your teammate's going to have to be spaced out. So I think a lot of the initial gameplay that we're going to see out of, like, especially the cross-regional teams, like between Europe and North America, who's going to be more consistent and who's going to try and punish the hardest? Because I'm hoping to see a whole bunch of outplays because all these players are so mechanical, but it gets harder the better players you go up against, right? Like the bigger the skill gap, the more fancy stuff you'll see. The closer the skill gap, you're just looking for the moment. You're looking for
most effectiveness, effective thing that you can do in that situation.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we're going to see a couple of silly goals here and there, just somebody dedicating for something that is risky, but they know they can pull off because they're that
Jacob
good.
Things kind of.
Yeah, just Jacob things kind of moment. But if that doesn't go in, or someone like Marky or Cooks here can actually get there to block it, then you've literally left your entire net open. So we're going to see some silly things and some really good things. I mean, either way, 2s is just, it's such a different pacing. It's so fun, yeah.
That's how I describe it, undeveloped.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see who wins. There'll be a lot of tight competition there. Where can you guys watch? Well, we've got all that information for you right here. It is this weekend, Saturday, August 26th. The broadcast starts on NBCSports.com and right here on Twitch, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on Sunday, it'll be broadcasting starting a little bit earlier there at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. You can see your other time zones there if you are not in the Eastern Time zone. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Have either of you been to the eSports Arena?
No, I have not.
Me neither. I'm excited to.
I thought you had a story to tell.
Have
you guys been? It's crazy.
I was hoping you guys could tell me, like, you know, where the best concession stand is.
Definitely didn't sound like you've been there before.
Yeah. You guys have been? No, definitely. It'll be a new experience for all of us. It'll be a lot of fun. But guys, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Carpet and Quinn got their top 10 players in the world. It's going to be amazing. Can't wait to see what they say. I'm sure some of you will love it and some of you will disagree so much. It'll be awesome. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.